Hi sewing friends. So this will be round 2 of my Start Ugly video because my microphone cut out 5 minutes into a 20-minute video. So I guess that only reiterates my point of Start Ugly. So quite ironically, in that video, I was showing you guys and telling you guys about how I was trying out a new microphone for that video, and of course it cut out. So I'm recording this on a lovely Saturday morning. I have a double at work today, so I thought I'd squeeze it in this morning. So yeah, I actually love it when I get to talk more about sewing, so I guess it's a win-win. So I came across the phrase "start ugly" at some point, right? And so it's in no means like my phrase or anything, but I love saying "start ugly." And what that means is when you start something like sewing, for example, you need to start it, right? And it's gonna be ugly. 9 times out of 10, you'll do this thing that you're really excited about doing, be that a hobby or something that you do in your life, and you look back on it, and years down the line you look back at it and you start to notice all the flaws, and that's what it means to start ugly. So, and you can only start ugly if you actually start. So I use that a lot in sewing because sewing is a skill and is something learnt over time. You can't just, like, within the space of a year go from like absolute beginner to totally advanced, making everything under the sun, unless you're doing it as like a career, like 10 hours a day kind of thing. It's something that a lot of us start as a hobby, and it's something that requires time, and it requires like a learning cycle to it. And that's what I really love looking back at some of my old sewing projects and seeing. Speaking of, I actually have my first ever sewing project here with me. I still have it. It's okay, so oh my god, I love telling you this story. So these are my pajama pants that I made 17 years ago. And I made them in high school, and I still wear them, and they are my favorite because, like, look at them. Oh my god, that is such a fabric that only a child could pick out. It has turtles on it. So, can I tell you? I'm gonna tell you guys this story. Okay, I love this. I love this story. Okay, so this was when I was in year 7 at high school, and the task was, like, we were making pajama pants, obviously, and we had to go and buy fabric for them. And me and my mum, that weekend, we went to a store called Spotlight. It's a very, like, well-known store in Australasia, kind of like a Joann's in the US. And so we went and we went to pick out some fabric, and I was told to get some cotton, like easy to sew cotton fabric, which is something I would always recommend for beginners because it's just the easiest. So get some cotton fabric to make these pajama shorts. And so when me and my mum went to my local Spotlight to get this fabric, the only fabric we could find in Spotlight was like a heavyweight upholstery fabric, right? And already I was like, nah, I don't think this is the fabric we need to get. So we couldn't find any other kind of cotton fabric in the store. So we went to a local quilting store, and if you know like the price range of fabric, you know that quilting fabric is a lot more expensive than regular like garment, everyday wear kind of fabric. So we went there, and I chose this fabric. Truly only a fabric that a child can love. I remember the day I picked it out, And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make myself a pair of pajama shorts in that. So I picked out this fabric, and I remember it was $58 a meter. And my mom was like, you better wear these shorts. Joke's on you, Mom, 17 years later, still got them. So I picked out this fabric, and I was so super happy with it. And I went to school on the Monday, and it was all like everyone showing off their fabric and telling everyone where they got it, and all lovely, lovely, lovely. Turns out the rest of my class had got their fabric from Spotlight, the exact same Spotlight that me and my mom went to. So I was like, how? Like, I was in the exact same store with my mom that weekend. Like, how come we never saw these fabrics? Turns out, Spotlight that me and my mom went to had upstairs where all of the garment fabric was, and we had no idea about it. So I ended up making my shorts out of quilting fabric, which is a-okay because I still love them. But the one thing I really want to show you guys on these shorts, and this is why I'm so glad I still have them, is because of all the flaws on them, right? So, you know, like, look, like the buttonhole, look at that. It's like all coming undone and everything. Obviously not reinforced with fusing, you know. All of my top stitching is actually in purple. So like a completely you probably won't be able to see it there, but you'll see this here. Look, massive bird's nest on the inside there. And I love it. And I love it. And this was the first time I ever used an overlocker as well. And that was terrifying. Because those of you who have never been on an overlocker, it's terrifying the first time, so fun the second time, because there's a blade on the overlocker. So anything that gets in that blade's way is gone. It's gone. So the first time I ever used this overlocker, I was like, if I screw this up, it's gone. But also you'll be able to see here at the center back seam. So I love it. Like I wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist when it comes to sewing, but I like things to look nice. and look at this. My center back seam for the waistband is there. Center back seam for the shorts is there. Like that's a full like inch off right there already. And it's like, oh my God, so sweet. And then also I've just realized this here. Look, I obviously needed to take these in a little bit or let them out really. And you can see I've just added that extra little piece in there. And yeah, so like also, if I look at this pocket, clearly I was a beginner sewer because I didn't overlock the interior of this pocket here. I've got my pocket there. And then on the inside you're usually supposed to like overlock all the raw edges of the fabric so it doesn't fray or anything or come undone. I clearly did not do that. But 17 years on, and I've never had to repair them, which I think is really good. And so if you are a beginner and you kind of are worried about starting because it's not going to look good, I'll tell you right now, they don't. Your first couple of projects are not going to look good. I remember I didn't start sewing clothes apart from this for about 5 years after learning how to sew. And it was only when I went to university that I started to sew clothes. So if you are wanting to get into sewing and you don't really know where to start or how to start or what you need, oh my God, this is such a big thing. What do I need to know before even getting started, right? Because sewing is traditionally can be a very it can be quite an old-fashioned skill. And I really think within the last couple of years, especially with all these indie pattern designers like myself, we've kind of come into this space and gone, actually, you know, these lightweight tissue paper patterns just ain't gonna cut it anymore. Like, we want new designs and we want things to be improved for the modern sewist. And so I completely understand how it's like you're really excited to start on this new hobby skill very eagerly and go straight into sewing something you can wear. But I really think that the best way to build up your skills is a project at a time. So what I usually recommend to beginners is to start with something really basic, like a pillowcase, a pencil case, lots of cases, right? And then you slowly build up your skills. And by introducing a new technique like pivoting at a corner or overlocking or sewing with a different type of fabric, with one project at a time, you slowly build up your skills, right? And it doesn't become too overwhelming, and you actually enjoy the skill because you're building it up gradually, right? Instead of not all at once, and then you just get so overwhelmed that you kind of get put off a bit. And so, like, when I learned to sew, it was I think it was like 4 hours a week. I had like 4 classes every week, and I used to look forward to those classes so much. But I do remember, like, it was like 12 kids, one teacher, and so you didn't really get to go too deep into it as a middle schooler. But as I went on and I took it all the way up to year 13, it got a lot more in depth. But the way I was taught as a young adult, 16, 17, 18, because I'd left school by I was 19, my teacher wasn't the best for me. So the way I was taught was, this is the way it's done, this is the way we're doing it. And I was like, no, but like, it's not good. Yes, it might be the way it's always done, but it's not good. It doesn't look nice, it doesn't feel nice, I don't enjoy doing it. So what's the point? Like, the way you are taught in an academic setting is very different to the way that I would recommend learning in a more modern way. If you want to learn like the traditional ways, go for it. However, like some of you may know, I'm releasing the beginner's guide to sewing. Beginner's guide to sewing, yeah. We've been through a few reiterations, but the beginner's guide to sewing. And it basically takes you from, I have no idea how to sew, never been on a sewing machine, it looks fun, I want to give it a go, to finishing the course. You graduate and you get to sew your first ever sewing project, which will be a bucket hat. And I taught this exact same curriculum, lesson plan, module setting over the course of 3 years when I was back in New Zealand, and I did night schools. So I did 3 years every Thursday night, 4 terms a year, 10 weeks, I think it was. And I had so many students enroll in my class that there was a wait list. And I've never had that before, and that was amazing. So I had a beginner's class and I had all my beginners come, it was great. And then I had a few beginners that actually loved it so much that they wanted to re-enroll again into the beginners class and actually go off to one side and do their own sewing project and just have a little bit of help and guidance from me throughout the term. And that was brilliant. Apart from the fact that so many of my students wanted to stay in the class and do the beginners class as an advance, that there weren't any room for new beginners coming in. So what we ended up doing was doing a advanced class. And so the way that I taught suited them so much so that they wanted to come back. And so this beginner's guide to sewing is something that's been in the work for about 3 years now. A lot in my head, down on paper, working it back and forth, and also getting a lot of input from the sewing community. And so it basically, long story short, this is the way I wish I was taught how to sew. This is the exact way I wish I was taught how to sew, because it works. And also there's no pressure for it to be perfect. I mean, like, hello? Like, you gotta start ugly somewhere. And this course, one of my favorite things about it is that it's all in like little chunks. Because like, as sewing it being a hobby, when you're in a time crunch, your hobbies are most likely the first things to go. So I've broken it down all into like 15-minute lessons so that like you could just sit down, watch this little tutorial, try it out yourself. And you know, it's only 15 minutes and it's broken down into modules so that you can work your way through it at your own pace as well. So, and there's also so many like beautiful motivational quotes throughout. So the first one obviously is start ugly. And then a couple other ones throughout it are things like, you don't have to be good at your hobbies, you just have to enjoy them, which I think is so true because like, you know, I also have a few other hobbies and I'm not good at them, but I enjoy them. Like I skate, I roller skate, and that is something I started during lockdown. And have I made a lot of progress in the 4 years that I have been skating? Nope. I still fall over. Still have to wear wrist guards and everything, but I love it. It's so fun. And it's a reason for me to get out and go explore different parts of the city that I'm in on skates. And I've met so many beautiful people in the skating community, and I'm not good at it. I just enjoy it. And I think that's also something that links into Start Ugly, that you just got to enjoy it. And if you enjoy doing it, great. And that's all you can ask from yourself. So Start Ugly part 2. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll definitely, cause also before we go, there is a waitlist for the beginner's guide to sewing. So I'll pop the link to the waitlist below. So you guys will be the first ones to know about it. So hope you guys have a lovely weekend and subscribe, please. Oh my God, we're nearly at 1,000 subscribers and that's so exciting. I love that. Like genuinely, this YouTube channel, I started ugly. I remember recording my first ever video and it was not good. But now I look back at it and I'm like, I'm so proud of me. I did that. Every Tuesday, I sat down and recorded a video. And in this case, I re-recorded a video on a Saturday. So if you guys enjoyed that, it would be great to hit 1,000 subscribers. So I hope you guys enjoy and get on that wait list. So thank you, bye.